this platform over here, y'all crazy for that. I've never seen anything like that before. I'm on a live session, and they took the live session down. They took the whole live session down to upload, even though I had already uploaded it already. That's crazy. Oh, they're doing it over here too. Wow. They're doing it to y'all over here. Now they're saying they're stopping it over here. They did that back to back. Okay, on both. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to restart. I guess y'all gonna be sure over here on Facebook, but on the podcast. Everybody else, I'm sorry. TikTok, YouTube, we had to bring y'all back. They literally just shut y'all down and came back. TikTok, they just said that they're gonna stop what it is and making sure that nobody can see that we're on. So I'm gonna have to restart it. I know you still see us. They're not gonna let anybody else be able to see us. So if you guys don't mind, give me about a minute on here. This one's easier. Just give me a minute. I'm gonna have to stop the live and then come back on. You guys come back in. They messing with us. This is getting crazy. I guess it's getting nice, but it's getting crazy because the algorithm, they were messing with us. They were bringing everything down. Now the last couple of weeks we've been growing, swelling up again. It's been getting a little crazy again. And now they start doing these things where they start trying to say this, that, or whatever. You have to start. I had to do that before. You have to every day start having legal battles with these cats behind the scenes just to be able to put up a live session. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is, for real, for real. These guys is out of pocket. So if you're on TikTok, just go ahead, if you can, give me a minute. This one's pretty easy. I just got to turn it off and turn it back on. So give me a minute, and I'll be back on. Sorry, you guys come back in the room too. All right? But yeah, especially on the holy day too. It's all, or getting ready for the holy day, all that. But it is what it is. I'll be right back though, okay? I promise. I'll be right back. 1 minute, be right back. Thank you. Getting crazy out here in these streets, boy. All righty. Okay, and those who are on the podcast, thank you for your patience. You didn't have to listen to all of it, but you listened to enough of it. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and get on. How you doing, Big Brother Thomas? So we're going to go ahead and get to where we were. I apologize for all that. Thank you. Yeah. You said Christ is dead? He was. In the flesh. At the same time, he never was. Interestingly enough, right? But yeah, he was. But let's go ahead and go to where we were, right? I apologize. We literally had to start everything all over again. That was one of the most blatant ones I've ever seen before in life. So they did what they needed to do. We're gonna do what we still here to do. We're not stopping because of whatever. All right. So as I was saying, Luke chapter. So if you missed the tiny bit that we got to start, we have it recorded. You can go back and look at the recording. Luke chapter 22 is where we are now. Verse 27, when we get to this place where it talks about being under the dam, or the animal, the offspring that's under the dam. The word dam there is actually Amma. The word Amma being mother, right? Matter of fact, a lot of you don't even know this, that the word Eve was not original. Eve comes from Ishtar worship. They worship the moon, so they call her Eve, short for evening, which really goes back to Ishtar or Ishtar, right? But Amma is what it's actually been. So it says, Adam called her Amma. He gave her another title, Amma. Her name was Ayatar, which is help me. He gave her the title of wife. And then after they sinned and fell short and started to have children, she had another title bestowed upon her. That title was Amma, or mother, right? So here in Leviticus chapter 22, verse 27, it's saying that you should not be under the Amma. How you doing, Sister Angela? Right? That you should not be under the Amma. YouTube is back on. Sorry, I can't say the platform names that much because they try to take us down for that too. But right, and but you should be with under Amma, and we were talking about how that offspring can't be considered to be a living sacrifice until the offspring has been around 7 days. Just like a male child cannot be circumcised or named until the 7th day. Right. So we know this. Right, that the child shouldn't have to go through those things until the 7th day. So we don't know the name, or we don't authorize the child, and we don't until We take care of the child, obviously. We don't authorize certain things until the seventh day. This same type of thought process goes with us, even with our male children, right? Our children in general, right? But our male children specifically with circumcision and naming. Now, circumcision, if you recall, circumcision is always something that shows that we are ready to be obedient to the law, and we are ready to not live by the flesh, but live guided by the Spirit, that the zarah, or the seed, or the word of Yahweh might be able to come forth, right, and not be dirty in any way, shape, or form, or uncleanliness, meaning unlawfulness, right? And how you doing, Michael? Welcome back. Welcome back to everybody. That was kind of crazy work. They literally, if you didn't hear me, they literally just stopped the whole thing. I saw something was going on weird with the signal. I went to check it. As soon as I went to check it, they cut it off, and then tried to make me, what is it that they do? They refreshed or updated the app. And while updating the app, though, I had already updated it. So it was crazy. Right, so that was one of the most blatant ones I've ever seen, where they're like, yeah, we just want you not to be on, because we were already getting up to 30-something, right, in the numbers, I think, already, which is, really great even for a lot of persons. So when you start getting to the tens, a lot of persons don't know, a lot of live sessions, no matter how famous persons are, you'd be surprised how many persons can have millions of subscribers or followers, whatever they call them, and still not really be able to get that much traffic on live sessions. So when we're doing, just in the 30s, and we've had a couple recently 40s, one time even jumped to the 50s, when you start growing like that, we're starting to have regular views now like we used to, getting back to the hundreds and thousands and stuff like that. Then, all of a sudden, usually they start doing some weird, interesting things. But nevertheless, Yahweh's will be done. So that was blatant. But thank you for coming back on. I appreciate you so very much. Thank you for the compliment about the hair. How you doing, Brother Keith, if I didn't say so last time? It's important that we recognize the circumcision and the naming, right? Even for us, there's culture going on here, and we might miss that. We might miss that in all this stuff talking about sacrifice and offering, right? The offspring even of the animal that to be sacrificed is supposed to be clean as well, in name and authorization. How you doing, big brother Charles, double OG, triple OG, how you doing, Sister Taylor? All right, I see you bounced over long. How you doing? So ECS yacht, everybody who's on, Shirella, if I didn't say so already. So we have to recognize and realize very quickly that the cleanliness, the name, circumcision or authorization, and not for the animal circumcision, before human beings, all these different things, is mandatory, necessary, and cleanliness is something that we should look at, right? Yah is very particular about how we handle things, especially when you look at even the correlation of Mashacheh, or some of you say Hamashiach, or Messiah, the anointed one, the Christ. You will see that there's certain things that are happening even with him. So when you catch this stuff, that once again the holy days are an extension of who we are and how we live and what we do every day, when you begin to catch those things in that regard, you begin to see a lot more about the Bible as a whole, including on the holy days and stuff that's coming up. And when we offer things up, when we give offering, when we give sacrifice, when we give grain offering, when we help somebody in the street, we'll probably, as one of our offerings for either today or tomorrow, because technically Tabernacle starts when the moon rises, right? And we'll just go by 6 p.m. New York time, or for us here 6 p.m. Central time, or whichever. We'll go out and make sure that persons in the city have some different things. So we'll buy some extra fruit and vegetables and stuff to be able to try and give to those that we see. And maybe as we go back across, whenever we see somebody in need, maybe we can be a blessing to them and have some bags. Yeah, you know what? That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get some bags together, make some stickers, or just buy some stickers. Just write SOC or hashtag SOC or something on it. There you go. Maybe we don't even got to do that. I don't know. We're gonna do that. That's a word. I like that. All right, I feel that. I felt that in my shunda. All right, but we're looking at the circumcision and things like that, right? Because the circumcision and different things that are there, that's talking about lawful, right? The law. Even when it talks about circumcision of the heart, even though that doesn't mean that persons did not get circumcised. I'm not saying you have to either. I'm just letting you know, because somebody will say Old Testament versus New Testament, and they don't know that the Old Testament and New Testament wasn't a thing until recently. Somebody had to start writing that in. Don't forget that the Bible was not originally a Bible. the word Bible meaning set of books. So a holy Bible just means one or a whole set of books. And we know depending on what version of this that you have, it might not be whole, right? But holy Bible literally means a whole set of books. Or if you want to go holy as far as set apart set of books, right? But it was scrolls, there were epistles, it was letters. There were historical documentations, right? Some of the scrolls, like First Chronicles, Second Chronicles, First Kings, Second Kings, First Samuel, Second Samuel. You'd be surprised. You'd be like, well, there seems to be a lot of stuff that's already written in other parts, or some of them double up. Well, they're all like historical documentation. Think of it as like back in the day, for those of us that grew up with this stuff, where you had like an encyclopedia, or you had Encyclopedia Britannica, or some of you even did the side hustle stuff back in the day, like I did, where you had to knock on them doors, and you knock on the doors, and you had to try and sell encyclopedias to people, or books, or things like that, and even shelves and stuff like that. And tell persons how important it was. Because back in the day, everybody wanted bookshelves, everybody wanted books, and everybody had to try. That was like creme de la creme back in the day. You know, it was almost like it was almost just as important. Well, in certain households, certain communities, it was almost just as important to have the set of encyclopedias as it was to have like a television. Like if you had even if you never read the books, you just wanted people to come in and be like, yeah, I got it, right? You know, it was important back in the day. You used to make some money off of that, yeah, right? So it was extremely important back in the day. You were supposed to at least fake but we had like legit libraries where like from the floor to the ceiling. It wasn't huge, I would say, but we had legit libraries of VHSs. We had legit things of DVDs. We had libraries of books. You had to have your China cabinet too. Our China cabinet was right in the same area as these places. You had to have a China. Now people don't rock with the China cabinet. Y'all remember everybody? I don't know if every household. I think every household. I don't think that was just. I can't speak for everybody. I don't think that was just a black thing, right? I think all the at least Western households, definitely American households, right? And you had to have the China cabinet in there, but it was something that was a staple of what you had, right? And so it was important. But that's kind of what the Bible is. You know, you guys have one too? Yeah. So that's what the Bible is, you know, like when you came into grandma's house, she had a Bible open on her thing, and she had plastic on the furniture and all that stuff, right? But that's what a Bible is. The Bible is a set of books. It's an atmosphere, right? It's supposed to be many different scrolls put together. And so before we were given this, a lot of persons don't know this is a way of life. These were things, this was what we were picking up on. So this is why your Bible says stuff like in John, I don't remember the chapter, forgive me, somewhere around John 21 or onward, it says that John did not write the epistle or the well, I don't even know if it's a letter, but he didn't write what he wrote about Christ. Simply because, or just for you to be able to read it, or he wrote it, he said for you to believe. And he says if he had tried, or if everybody tried to write all the things that Christ actually did while he was here, or even just during his times half the time, his 3.5 years, it says that the earth itself could not contain all of the works that he did, right? In other words, if you were to try and write books and stack them on top of each other and try to be able to put something on the water where you can stack them on top of there too, and just keep on writing, it says that if you took all the things that he did from all the perspectives that happened, you wouldn't be able to see it. So we're really not even looking into the whole picture of Christ. We're seeing a fraction of what he did. And this is why faith is important. Works are important, but faith is important too, because just like faith without works is important, faith without works doesn't get you anything. Works without faith won't get you anything, because there's a whole lot that we don't know. It's like when somebody says, I got a degree. There's 180 degrees just to repent. Right? You said yours at a dining room with a china cabinet with some real old chinaware. Yeah. And you didn't break out the chinaware just for anybody, by the way, right? It had to be serious. Right? Like we got to know you, or it's got to be like something where we trying to really impress. Some of that stuff stayed in the china cabinet, for 50, 60 years. I got stuff at my father's house still that has been in there since before my mother passed away. Matter of fact, all of it might be. I just realized that might be like his little, I won't say shrine, but might be like his little respect. He got the urn and everything, and I never thought about it because it's still broken in the same area that it was. It still sits there. Right? It still sits there. right? Yeah, you had to be VIP to open up that cabinet, right? But this is the mindset of what we now call the Bible, right? This is a fraction, or these are persons trying to give you as much of the story as possible. These are persons writing and writing and writing. Like, you should read as many books as possible. You also try to read into our story. This is why also too, persons don't get this. Before we called it the Bible, we called it Tanakh, or what a lot of you call Torah. Some of you trying to call it Torah now, which is a different thing. If I'm saying Tet, the Tet is talking about Tet. So y'all would probably need to call it the Kata if you're keeping it the same, but whichever. But the Tanakh or the Torah is a specific, it means guide. So anything that is the word of Yah was considered to be a guide or instruction, or what we call today doctrine, right? So if it's the Torah or the guide or the doctrine or the instruction, then we make sure that we put it together, that we keep it together, that we keep it, right? To keep the commandment is to keep doctrine, right? Everything the king decrees is commandment or law, ordinance, statutes, etc., right? So we keep these commandments, we keep the Torah, we keep the guide, because all of the word is a guide. So this is really a lot different. It's put in book form, and it's nice we can keep it. Obviously, we use it quite a bit, right? But this is designed for us. So this helps us to be able to go. Like, a lot of persons don't think about it, but if we really comprehended how important it was to keep the commandments and to be circumcised, circumcision of the heart, the passion of the heart, to make sure that we're named properly, authorized properly, and doing things correctly, and nothing unauthorized gets out, because we're supposed to be the keepers of Yahweh's word. If we are doing these things the way it's supposed to be done, right? What really has to take place is anything that we say or do has to not only match Tanakh or Torah, it has to become Tanakh or Torah. Okay, I'm going to make a bold statement for some of you. Some of you are going to have no problem with this, but and not saying you're bad or wrong for whatever. I'm just going to make a bold statement real quick. Okay? And Shalom, Abigail, how you doing? Shalom, Abigail. Right? So, it's going to sound like really bold and really like a lot of bravado behind this, but I'm just being honest. Can you show me in your Bible where it says that Revelation is the last book of the Bible? Can you show me anywhere where it tells you that Revelation is supposed to be the last thing written? I didn't say Revelation. I know Revelation talks about the eschatology, the study of the last days, or the study of things that will last. What I'm saying is, can you show me anywhere in your Bible, even your Apocrypha, if you think that's not part of your Bible, where it says that Revelation is the last thing that will ever be written? Now, we were raised like that, and what I'm saying might be offensive to somebody. How you doing, Nicole? Nicolo, excuse me. Nicolo, Italy in the house, Italiano, right? Ciao. Right? I know somebody might want to, all right, I'm ready for you today. But I'm going to say, hey, can you find anywhere in your Bible, right, where it says that nothing should be written past the book of Revelation? I'm just trying to show, see, because when we're dealing with laws and what we offer up, we oftentimes are not clean, lawful, and a lot of times we even don't execute properly because we squash stuff real quick. And we put it in the box. We say it can't be anything because of what man said. We're still looking through the prism of somebody who's not actually supposed to guard and keep the word at the level that we are. We still are, right? But I'm gonna ask once again. Some of you've already answered. I'm just gonna say it again because I want you to put on your Israelite thinking cap. Have you ever read anywhere in the Bible where it says that Revelation is the last thing that should ever be written? Salah. The answer, of course, is no. Now, why do I say that? Because this has been kept by us. We only look for what's written by others, Christians, Jewish folk, and Messianic Jews, Muslim, Arabic, so-called Arabic persons. We look for everybody else to keep informing us about what's going on. right? To the point to where we haven't looked to see what our people kept writing. And it would just verify some of the things that we're reading today. Now, here's the deal. If you get something, it should match this, and vice versa. Right? That's how you know somebody prophesied. Right? Somebody will come to you and prophesy, or somebody comes to you and they prophet lie. The person who prophet lies is trying to just profit off you. Hey, John Thomas, how you doing? Is that the best you got? Although I don't believe in homosexuality, I'm not LGBTQ+. You know, I'm not homophobic either, so, you know, or I'm not misogynist. So if somebody calls me a girl, I'm not. It doesn't do anything to me, right? Blessing, Barak, how you doing, Bernadine? Right? So the reason why I'm saying that is because we have stuff to verify. So that's why I'll say, hey, why don't you look at Flavius Josephus? Why not learn about Oluwadach Equiano? Why not learn about Gannibal, right, and his two sons? Why not learn, right, about the Israelites that are talked about that were writing in Hebrew in North Carolina and South Carolina and wrote so well that the greatest Jewish scholars in the United States were saying that, you know, they're not even on their level. Right? Why not learn about the fact that you were already scattered in the Bible across waters that we know are in Africa, and you have to go over to West Africa to cross those waters that are mentioned? Right? Why not talk about the fact that the Negro was different than the African? Therefore, instead of going and saying, hey, I'm going to start, like, oh, here's another new one that's been picking up steam, right? I'm going to learn Bantu, which learn as many languages as you want, those tongues, right? If you got the gift, especially, do you. And even learn how to talk to persons in that, and even learn some of the things that you could learn from. But people will go, yeah, so the Bantu language, or Kosa, or all these different things, they are actually originally Hebrew. It's like, no, the Hebrew scattered there, so we influenced the language. But that's not Avlin. If anything, if you know how that works, that's Iflin, that's evil, that's equal. That's not Avlin. Right? Our people have kept this word, and the language is never supposed to change. Right? Until heaven and earth pass away, shouldn't in no wise this word pass. No problem, no one. I see you. So you hear what I'm saying? Right? Like, a lot of persons are not able to catch this. He said, why would we believe what they say without studying to show ourselves approved? Yeah. Study to show yourself. I like even the way that word is set up. Study to show thyself. And then approved by who? Allah. And if he approves it, then you could be what? A workman that needed not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. See, I'm not ashamed of the word, of the scroll, because not only have I studied, I got it approved before I even started to teach it. How you doing, Brother Dwayne? Right? I studied to show myself approved. Approved by Yah. And if any person, therefore, right, this is why you know the law greater than the scribes and the Pharisees. If I'm telling you something and it doesn't jive, you have a right to question it and then study for yourself. I can't always give you every single thing that I've ever learned as far as everything, because, yeah, I've been doing this for a minute, but it doesn't mean that I shouldn't be able to at least get you something to get you started, for you to go through a journey that's yours. We're going through a journey together, but at the same time, we're responsible for working out our own salvation. So there's a lot of, so anything that's preached today, it better be Terach. Not just because it has to match with this, which it should, but because it's also Terach means guide or instruction or doctrine. Torah, before we turned it into all these other words that we wanted to be and started preaching and changing definitions, Torah means instruction or guide or doctrine. So when you see the word doctrine and you think about doctrine, matter of fact, if you think about it, you don't even see the word doctrine pop up in English versions of the Bible. You only see the word doctrine pop up over and over and over again in really the so-called New Testament. Why is that? Because they're focusing on Greek connotation and denotation. They're not focused on the original. But if you see the word doctrine, the Greek person is saying it's the same as instruction. It's the same as Torah. It's the same as law. So if somebody goes to, so watch this. If one would go to a church where they would tell you that the holy days don't matter because we don't follow the law, but then would tell you, come to our new members class so we can teach you our doctrine. Right? You see where somebody got to make that make sense, right? If we know that the word doctrine literally means instruction or guide, and guide or instruction is the word that we're using when we're talking about Terach or Torah, right? Torah, then that means we're saying the same thing. If it's doctrine, then it's got to be law, because law is the guide. The guide that we're reading here is guiding us. What is it guiding us through? The law and the family of believers that use it. It's a guide, and it's supposed to continue to guide us as we continue to move forward. Right? You said you get nervous just believing anything? Yeah, you got to be careful that you just don't believe anything. Are you hot or cold? Hey, how you doing, Elder Tim? Right? So the guide guides us continuously, which means anything that I say to my children, Yah looks at it as if I'm telling them Torah, or you would say telling them Bible. So my son, I'm watching him, and I'm going to name him. He's going to be circumcised when he's on the 8th day. Why is he going to be circumcised? He's going to be circumcised because I'm naming him, and I better watch him and look, and according to the law, the guide, the Torah, the Bible, because what I name him is Torah. It's a guide for his life. Name means Shem, Sham. Name means authority. I authorize it through the name. See, that's why you got to be careful. What's her name? Portia. You authorize some things. Don't be upset when Portia start acting like Portia. What's their name? I'm not even joking with this one. Some of y'all know I'm not. What's his name? The coldest. If y'all don't know, that's not even a joke. There's a dude live, living and breathing football player. I don't know, because it doesn't seem like he ever made it to the NFL, but whatever he does, I hope he's the greatest, because his name is the coldest. Somebody even joked, I don't know if it's a joke outright or maybe it's real, somebody said his name is the coldest to ever do it. Right? But he's named the coldest, and they named it the coldest because they say he's going to be the greatest wide receiver to ever live. I hope you had got that instruction from the Most High. Right? We don't take seriously. Why'd you name that? Oh, I just named it because, it was my grandfather's name. That's sweet. But prayerfully you were led to name that, because there might be some things your grandfather has that y'all doesn't want your son to partake in. Get mad. I'm sorry. I know that's. I don't know your grandfather. If the shoe fits, wear it. If it don't, take it off. Right? But I'm just saying, you got to be careful. I'm sorry, Lauren. What was that? We got to stay focused on this. Talking about something with the X and all that stuff. I don't know if that's for us today. Okay. All right. At least I'm not getting it. You said, what religion is this? Where information is beliefs? Religion. Everybody has a religion. So if you want to say, what do I do every day? That's what religion actually means. But if you're talking about what do we believe in the Bible. We're not Christians, though. We go by what the Bible actually states and what it says. And if you like to. And if you'd like to listen long enough to see where I'm coming from, you sure can. If you'd like to put a name on it, it's Yehadashah. It's kingdom. It's followers of the way. It's being holy. Right? But today, if you have, and I'm not trying to say this to stop you, legit. On Thursday and Friday we have Q&A there. You can come back. You can ask as many questions as you like. Right? But but welcome. That was what was your name? Sorry, Heather. How you doing? Welcome. So in this stuff, and if you want more information too, we have a lot of stuff recorded. If you look up hashtag find Kofi, FIND, like you're looking for something in my name, Kofi KOFI, you'll be able to find plenty of recordings and stuff out there that you can look at and listen to, and even go through the series if you like. If it intrigues you enough, and you feel led, and your sensibilities and everything say you want to go along with the Holy Spirit, you feel led to go and listen, you can feel free to, right? But today we're in Leviticus chapter 22, and we're kind of still focused on verse 27 a little bit, right? And so before we become a living sacrifice, we're supposed to go through certain things that are lawful. And before you start telling persons about doctrine, you have to understand doctrine is Torah or Torah, because doctrine is instruction. You said, like, yeah, there is power in the name. Right? What is the name proclaimed? Come on. That's it. I see you over there. Over there riding. You ride better than a lot of these young cats out here. Right? Sis Michelle said, what is the name proclaimed? Yeah, right? What is the name proclaimed? Yeah, everybody got a name, but what is the name proclaimed? Matter of fact, the Bible even discusses in Revelation, I believe with the fourth assembly, that once you get things corrected, that Yehoshua says he wants to give you a new name that will just be between you and him. There's sometimes you get a name or an authority that nobody, right? There's things that Yah will give to you, grant to you, that nobody will have access to or thought process or really comprehend your story like you do. You said it's called zeal? Yeah, I see you in there. Right? But sometimes there's things that the Most High Yahweh will do for us. I mean, that He's doing for us, and He's not going to do it for anybody else, and nobody's going to comprehend it. But especially for us as a nation, right? Once again, what we call the Bible is not written for everybody. How you doing, Brother Cole? Right, praying things get better for family, and that you're being safe and all the stuff you're doing. Hopefully, you get some rest, right? So, yeah, it'll be at 5:30. Yeah, Holy Day tonight, 5:30 p.m. New York time. All that stuff is already kind of sprinkled about and mentioned in certain places anyways, but you should get the Google Calendar invite pretty much as soon as we finish the live session, right? So, but we should, so we should make sure that we're looking at all these different things. So, I mean, if you guys are going on the 24th, probably just don't believe in the position of the moon in the same place that we do. Technically, the day is supposed to be tomorrow, the 23rd, but as far as the Avda calendar or the actual Hebrew calendar, you start the day before. So that's why we do the 22nd. You start with the moon, right? The evening to the rising. So the moon is the beginning of the day, right? Right. So that's the moon beginning of the day. It also tells you where you are in the month. So it sounds like you guys just say, okay, it's the 24th to the 23rd. Either way, I hope you enjoy it. We're just going to do ours tonight. Whether you come physically or virtually, appreciate you, right? I hope you enjoy it. I'm not going to fight you on that. I'm glad that you follow the will of the Most High, right? We're going to get there one day where we're all the same, but hey, as we come back together, let's just at least come together. I'm going to do the argument thing. I've been telling a person, one thing about these holy days that I'm learning more and more as I teach more and more, as I grow more and more, is that if anybody, look, I'll tell you why we do what we do. I'll show you the best that I can. If I disagree with something, I disagree, but as long as it's not having somebody eat or drink a damnation to themselves or something crazy like that, I'm not going to fight you on dialect. I'm not going to fight you on if you like a week before, or some of you think that the month is supposed to be a month before, or some person doing the calendar. I'll just show you why we do what we do. But ultimately, if you were to invite me to your thing, even if it wasn't on the day of Passover, I have to be a little careful with that one, but I'd still come through. I still say what's up. You know what I'm saying? If I see you doing it virtually, I promise you I'm still going to say praise Yah. You know what I'm saying? If you say Yahuwah instead of Yahweh, right? If you say Yahweh instead of Yahuwah, if you say Yahusha instead of Yeshua, I'm still going to say praise Yah, right? Right? Because there's a lot of persons that say whatever name you want. That's why we're talking about even in the names here. A lot of persons will say whatever name that they want, or just put whatever date that they want, and you could say that it's correct. You could be Hebrew of the Hebrews, and some of y'all still need to be knocked off, or knocked down to the ground and be blinded by the light, the enlightenment, that you might be able to actually get the word in your heart and your mind for the first time the way it's supposed to. Because a lot of us are like Saul. So where Saul is literally, his name is the grave. A lot of us are like in the grave, or Saul, or Saul, however you pronounce it. A lot of us are like him, to where we still living in the grave, out here preaching to everybody and living dead. We are like Yehoshua said, the Messiah said, we are like whitewashed tombs, where we're bright on the outside, but on the inside, just dead, right? So I'm just proud that life is returning, right? And these dry bones can live. You got to put the sinews on, right, before you can breathe into it. You got to put the lungs in there before you can breathe into it. You got to put the heart in there. You got to have the muscular situation taken care of, the digestive system. Necessary. It's going to take a minute for the body to come back. But once the body comes back, the roha breath can return. So But in this today, focus specifically on this chapter, Leviticus 22, verse 27, we see that before an offering can be made, it must be authorized properly, named properly. It must be set apart. It must be holy. And it, watch this, and it must be under its mother. Now that is interesting. That's just some observations today from the text, but that's interesting. It's got to be under its mother. Family is important. Might I say one of the things, because if we'll talk about this for sheep and bullock and goats, right? Which we'll be talking about calves and lambs and kids, because a kid is not a human being, right? Correct? I know some of you got kids, but kids are not human beings. Babies, children are human beings. Kids are offspring of goats, right? So when we're talking about kids and lambs and calves or calves, excuse me, we are speaking specifically. And by the way, if you don't know, it could be technically calves or calves, because F and V are interchangeable characters. You can use an F or a V however you want, or not however you want. You can interchange them. Anything that has an F on it, you could put a V there. And anything that has a V on it, you can put an F there. You're talking about different dialects, okay? But anyways, so if you have calves or calves, whatever, right? You're speaking specifically. We're talking about what you're talking about. These things that they have to be made holy before they can become living sacrifices. Well, your children must be made holy and come from a proper culture and a proper way of law, and we must protect them in a certain way and value them before they can be made to be a living sacrifice, before they can sacrifice themselves later on, before they can sacrifice themselves for their wives later on, sacrifice themselves for their husbands, for their children. First things first, beloved, we got to have a conversation about, have they been authorized properly? Have they been set apart as far as law? Are they into the flesh? Or do they have a circumcised heart, so to speak, right? You see, so we're going to be very, we have to be very careful in how we treat things. And a lot of times we don't even think, going into the holy days, how are we teaching our children? How do we teach the babies this law? Giving them taraf, instruction, doctrine, a guide. How are we? You, the Bible declares it like this: you are living epistles. I heard somebody preach this a long time ago. I loved it. He said, you are Acts 29. And if you don't know, there are not 29 chapters in the so-called book of Acts, right? There's not 29 chapters. So he was saying, you are a living epistle. The Acts, A-C-T-S, Acts, still continue in us, right? Romans chapter 8, verse 18. The suffering, the choices we make, and the things we decide to go through, the suffering of this present time is not worthy to be compared to the glory, right? The heaviness, the weight, the imprint that shall yet be revealed where and who? Inside of us. As Isaiah said in Isaiah 53, verse 1, who shall believe our report? Who is the keeper? You are, we are, this nation. Nobody else is keeping the word. I know somebody don't want to hear that. See, this is why I talk about nationality. I didn't say that somebody can't preach truth in a church. It doesn't happen as much as we used to think. That being said, it doesn't mean that it can't happen at all. But we're talking about a nation. How you doing, Sister Judith? Right? Hitting key points, praise y'all. Right? We're talking about a nation, a nationality. That's why you have to know the difference between a Negro and a so-called black person. A black person and a Negro might have the same blood, but they're not necessarily the same nation. Remember, every name that you see in this Bible, those are nations. Did you know that? Did you know that we are Hebrew? That's a nation. That's a name. That's a person, and out of him came a nation. He is the seminal head of a nation. And you talk about Abraham, Father Abraham. He is the seminal head of a nation. He broke away from a nation that was the bloodline, but the bloodline wasn't doing what they were supposed to do by the time he got to his father. He went away from his father in Jasher, right? And he went away from his father in Jubilee. He got the download of the language of all creation and got scrolls revealed to him that they had stopped paying attention to, that they were trying to be under other doctrine or under a strange doctrine. He decides to go away from that. Then he's instructed to leave. When he left, he became a nation, technically kind of sort of unto himself, even though the bloodline tells us where he comes from, but he had to separate even from his bloodline. Why? Because his bloodline had gotten away from the Most High. So although we can say there's certain things in his blood and he has to be careful of it, and there's certain things that obviously he did, he wasn't perfect, we know he sinned. That being said, he got away from the bloodline, and some of y'all are so attached to blood and DNA. I'm not saying we shouldn't be attached at all, but some of you are so attached to bloodline and DNA that even if they are doing wrong, you won't say it's wrong. And by the way, if you do that, I don't want to hear you say anything about the Republican who supports all the stuff that happens, even if it's bad, or the Democrat that supports all the stuff that happens, or the communist that supports all the stuff that happens, even if it's bad, or the Marxist that supports, etc., etc. I don't want to hear that, because you're doing the same thing. If you believe that you shouldn't call out achiva, evil, iniquity, because you both have locks, what's the difference between you and the Republican that says, I do that for Trump because of the color of our skin? What's the difference? What's the difference between, I'm going to be an FBA, Foundational Black American, and I'm going to support literally splitting apart a diaspora? Right? That's what you know. Don't bring Marcus Garvey into this if you're going to be a foundational Black American saying nobody else matters. Because Garvey said, even though he wasn't talking about Israel, even though if you look at some of his speeches and some of the songs and stuff that they wrote out, they actually are talking about Israel a lot more than you think. That being said, he said it was about everybody. He said, and I'm not saying this is what we said, I'm using him as an example. He said it was a black man, period. And here you are trying to use the red, the black, and the green to talk about how you should dismiss some jokers because they don't know what they're talking about. That's not where he stood. Right? But we do the same thing. This is why our culture has changed. We'll talk about nationality. The nation has laws, principles, statutes, principalities, commandments. Our ways are not their ways because Yah's ways are not even our ways. Nor his thoughts our thoughts, right? As high as the heavens are from the earth. Shalom. So it's difficult for us to have our children, the next generation, come up the way they're supposed to, because our children are getting the really jacked up information from us, because the premise and the lens that they look at this stuff through is very much so against the will of Yah. Right? A lot of the stuff that we do is very much so against the will of Yah. Even the way that we are. See, can I also say this again? Some of us need to hear this too, right? You get more bees with honey. And if you hit the hive, you shouldn't be upset if you get stung. I just got stung up by a swarm not too long ago. My son and I ran into a swarm. We didn't know there was a wasp nest, huge. Not even exaggerating, like huge. Didn't realize it had fallen and it was open. And we found out that when they blamed us for it, when we were outside and got tore up, right? Right? But you get more honey. I'm sorry, you get more from bees with honey, or more from bees when you smell like flowers. When you smell like flowers, bees aren't trying to sting you. They're trying to figure out where's the nectar, where's the pollen, where's something that I can eat. And let's be honest, some of us, right? I still got to improve at times too, but I'm just saying, some of us more than others, you need to take that to heart, because you out here talking about this blah blah, but you guys sound worse than a non-believer. And somebody can only take so much verbal abuse before they're gonna let you know about yourself, and then they're gonna leave. Some persons don't have no time for it. Some persons, they out as soon as you do it. They'd rather just go. They don't abide disrespect. right? Some of us don't realize, like, even the length of time. See, we don't really want the nation to grow, and because it's coming back, but we don't want it to grow. Because I need you to comprehend, how long did Yah had to wait and wait and wait, and the word wait means serve too. So when I'm waiting, I'm serving. How long did he have to serve and wait on us? How long is he still waiting and serving on us? Because we don't have it all together still. But we out here ready to cuss everybody out, or use very colorful language. Oh, and look, there's times where, yeah, like, I can be a wise, what, sometimes, right? But sometimes, like, do you ever take account of, it's like Dave Chappelle, right? Back in the day, when keeping it real goes wrong. Right? It's like Dave Chappelle, when keeping it real goes wrong. We can be so worried about keeping it real, and then all of a sudden it's like, and then we sit up there later, just like the person who's like, oh man, nobody will hire me, this and that. We sit there in the same manner, like, nobody will listen. These people just can't handle the word. They don't really care about it. They're never going to get their lines together. I don't care if nobody likes me. Yeah, I don't really care if people like me per se, if they dislike me because I'm doing evil. But if we righteous and we're doing it properly, I'm not saying everybody will like me, because they'll still have enemies, because they're enemies of Yah, or they might just misconstrue something I'm saying due to immaturity, or maybe just different beliefs, right? That being said, also too, I should be in some ways likable if I be of Yah. Yahushua would say to sinners, hey, you, I need to come to your house. Get up that tree. Everybody else just likes to do. Like, no, you. Come here. Right? Persons wanted to be around him, and yes, because he could perform miracles, but sometimes we need to also realize sometimes persons wanted to be around our Messiah because he was just straight up a nice dude. He could tell you about yourself. He could call you a hypocrite if you were a hypocrite. But sometimes it's just nice to be around them. Sometimes they're just sitting there, laying down, eating together. That's a word in and of itself. We don't like to go deep into that, but the fact that he can just break bread, we have some fish, right? We lay down when it's cold outside. We don't mind being next to this joker. We can huddle up for warmth. 13 of us. When he came to see about Lazarus was his boy. Martha and Mary, they were friends. He wept because his boy was gone. So yeah, we could call it as we see it. I'm not against it. I call it as I see it. And sometimes we got to be ready for the smoke. There's days, I've tried my best to not be the person. That's part of the reason why Holy Spirit, I can see nowadays why Holy Spirit had me go away from doing as much debate as I used to. I really haven't done a debate because nobody's really debated me. But like I used to sometimes invite persons up to go back and forth. But I had to get out of it because I was that dude. I want to smoke. But what if God doesn't even care about me having to smoke right now? What if he wants to smoke free room, but he just wants me to give the truth? Okay, I got you. I had to learn. I had to grow in that regard. And so, sometimes that's the thing. We have to clean ourselves up before we start trying to tell all these persons about this, that, bring them into the holy day situation, all these different things. Right? We grow. Right? Is it Nastya? Is it the same? Is it the same person from Russia from yesterday? If it is, welcome back. Thank you so much for being on with us. We appreciate your presence. So yes, we have to be in a position where we recognize and realize, what's going on, how Yahweh is using us, what his will is for us, and how he wants us to go to the next level. We're going to have to clean ourselves up. The hearts of the children, Malachi chapter 4, verse 6, the hearts of the children are important, right? Malachi chapter 4, verse 6 is where it says, Malachi chapter 4, verse 6. Yeah, Malachi chapter 4, verse 6 is where it says that what? That the hearts of the children have to return to the fathers. Right? The hearts of the children have to return to the fathers. The hearts of the fathers have to return to the children. If this does not happen, he will smite our land with a curse. The love, the heart, the passion. So the passion of Yah is going to come from the compassion of their fathers. Kam, by the way, can mean like communication or speaking, but also with Kam can mean one. The M and the N are interchangeable as well in characters. So it can be talking about one passion, compassion. So the same passion, the compassion I have with my son, is me using that to empathize and become one with him. And when I'm one with him in that manner, he will be able to take that and use that to be compassionate, become one with the heart and passion of his son, and his son, and his son, and his son, or daughters, of course, too, as well, right? That's that compassion. One passion. And we should have Yah's passion, because if we have Yah's passion, we have Yah's heart. Did you know that that's what it means? The word love, but the word heart in Hebrew is also doubles for the word, or it also is used for the word that we use called passion. So when David says, created me a clean heart, or David is called a man after Yahweh's own heart, it's saying he's a man after Yahweh's own passion. So therefore, when he shows compassion, he's one with the passion of the Most High. That's the compassion that we need, right? And all these other things we talk about holy days. Before, right? When we're talking about holy days, and it's important too. Yet as we talk about these holy days, consistently and strategically and specifically and righteously as we do, let us not forget about the compassion. Let us not forget about the oneness of heart with the Most High. How many persons see Yahweh's heart when you preach? Because sometimes Yahweh's heart might be to flip over a table for show. Right? Sometimes you might have to flip over a table, let somebody know. Sometimes you might have to call somebody out for being a hypocrite. Right? But also, where is the passion to where a stranger would come into your presence so they can get the word and they could be healed and be whole? Where is the passion that has the Samaritan woman who thinks that you would beat her up and is afraid of you, turn into the person that now begins to preach the word and have thousands be saved in her country? Right? Where is that? Do you have that passion, compassion? This is what we join in when we come to holy days. This is who we serve. That's his heart. That's his passion. That's what he wants for his children. We want nothing less than what he wants, correct? Is that true? We should want nothing less than what the Most High wants, right? So if we want nothing less than if we follow Christ, if he's compassionate enough, I'm not saying that we are doormats, right? I'm always very careful to make that a point to say, hey, I'm not telling you to be a doormat. That being said, though, right, we should have his compassion. Right? We should have his compassion. Where is it? When the trumpet sounded, we're going to have shofar on, we're actual, real, live shofar, whether you join us in person or whether you join us on Zoom, whether you join us on social media, on YouTube. And when we do that, hopefully you hear or are ready for the instruction, but also hopefully it comes with compassion. The one who would allow us to even go into Shemayim, go into the heavens, right, is the one that was compassionate enough to send his own son. His heart for you was so much that he wanted you to be a fellow heir, that he needed his son to go through what you went through so that you could follow his son back to him. Come on. Come on, Holy Spirit. That's when I felt that way, right? The love that he has for you, in order for you to be a fellow heir, he had to send his son so that his son could go through what you went through and actually take the punishment that you deserve. And now that his son, right, Yehoshua has taken the punishment that you and I should have had, now we can be fellow heirs and follow him right up. My greatness. Come on, Holy Spirit. Have your way in this place. So, You have to realize, you have to be honest, you have to recognize those things. Right? We have to be honest about these things. The compassion. It's the same compassion that the father has for his son that he has for you, where this father saw his son, or couldn't look upon his son because his son was taking on sin. And then he had to sit there and afterwards was in such turmoil that everything went dark, that the veil was rent, that lightning struck, that earthquakes happened. But while he was even grieving, and his son had gone into the grave, Matthew 27 says, the grave had been opened up, and persons were already walking out of that tomb. All praises to the Most High God. Come on, Yahweh, have your way in this place. Right? How you doing, Sister Omika? I'm on. We gonna preach that word. So we have to be honest. I know we don't like to have these honest conversations. We got to be honest. We got to keep it a buck. We got to keep it real. We have to make sure that we continue to progress in this and confess this, and to make sure the persons are recognizing what's going on. Give me 1 second. Yeah. So let's go on to the next. We've been in verse 27 forever and a day, right? Let's go to verse 28 and read some more. Let's read down some. We're in Leviticus chapter 22. If you didn't know already, we've been the whole time. Basically, the word is taking us different ways of looking at things, but we've been in Leviticus 22 basically the whole time, right? And let's go to verse 27, Leviticus 22. Sorry, verse 28. It says, "And whether it be cow or ewe, ye shall not kill it, and her young both in one day." So the importance of the mother here. All right, I want to talk about the importance of the mother here. The importance of motherhood, the importance of honor. Right, this baby has to be on the mother. It is important, the respect and the honor and the protection of mothers. And if I can be, I don't know, I guess if we can be parabolic. We have gotten to a place where our mothers and the position of mother, the position of woman, as much as we talk about the position of man, misandry has come in many different ways, including from others that are misandrous against us, who are from other belief systems, so-called races, etc., right? But the misogyny, the way the system is against the woman to attack wives, attack mothers, attack motherhood, is crazy, right? The mother, I'm not saying a woman can't get a job, can't have a business. We know what a Proverbs 31 woman is, right? But and how you doing, Jose? But we have forgotten the importance of a mother's milk, of the mother's sincere milk, which is not just the physical milk, right? And mothers have become, because they've had to, they become so hard and calloused. And according to Deuteronomy 28, verse 56, they can't even walk around because of it hurts the bottom of their feet. It hurts their soul. That was a bar, by the way. Some of y'all didn't even catch that when that said in Deuteronomy 28. It hurts the soul. It hurts the soul of her feet. She can't walk around. And through the feet, if your feet hit the wrong place, you whatever's in the ground, as stuff pulls out of you, you can also pull stuff in through your feet. And she says she's so unprotected by the husband who's been affected in Deuteronomy 28, verses 54 and 55. And now she doesn't even want to leave the house. And if she does, the only way she can do so, she got to be hard and callous. Gloria Steinem, used by the CIA, did a whole lot. And that's why we have to know the law. Of course, we should make sure our women are protected, right? But don't get to a place where now women have been so unprotected that the CIA can come through and have her eaten out of the palm of his hand. Right? Like, hey, how you doing, Sister Sage? Praise y'all. Always glad to see you pop in. Right? Hopefully all is well with you and the family. Right? But we have to recognize and realize, that all this stuff that's happening, all this stuff that's going on, and we haven't taken time out, unfortunately, to see the lack of protection of the mother. She's vital, right? First of all, your child is learning while they're in the womb. right? Your child is learning while they're in the womb. Mama's got to be protected, y'all. We've allowed this to go on long enough, and she's not going to be protected by the West, by the beast, by the United States. We see she's not. So somebody at some point has to protect her. And also, sisters, you have been trained that you've had to be hard, and I'm not even saying it's wrong. You have been trained that you have to be hard. That's the only way you're going to make it. But the problem is that you were designed to be soft. I'm not saying that you can't lift weight. I'm not saying that you can't have a woman that can't, be this, that, whatever. No, hear what I'm saying carefully. You were designed, right, to be protected. Partially because you are the one that birthed. Like, this is the way this works. What city, watch this, let me just do it like this. Those of you who are in the United States of America will say it like this. What city is always the most protected in every state? Don't miss it. Don't miss it. What city is always the most protected in every state? No. Well, okay. New York and New York City, right? But that's not even correct as much as you would think. Exactly. They make you think that, but not even so. It's the capital. Why is the capital always the most protected place in every city? Because capital is made for the state, right? Or is ran by the state, right? In the capital. That's that, right? So anything, so where your stuff is produced is what you protect. In football, who is the most protected player in football? To the point to where some of you don't even like watching the game anymore because you feel they're too protected. But who is the right? What is the most protected position in football? That would be the quarterback. Why? Because he produces the most. It doesn't matter if he's terrible. I don't care if you think he's terrible. I don't care if you think he can't throw the ball at all. He's the most protected position because he touches the ball. Him in the center, actually, believe it or not. The center is actually a little more protected than the quarterback, at least before the snap. You can't even line up over the center, right? Because the center can't protect themselves for a hot second. So the center and the quarterback, we don't even think about the center, right? Just like we don't think about the capital, we'll think about the other big cities, right? But Chicago is not the capital of Illinois. So it's not the most protected. Miami is not the capital of Florida. So it's not the most protected. New York is not the capital of New York. So it's not the most protected. Is the governor the quarterback of states? In a sense, yeah, right? So, and you protect the center. Why? Because the center has to give the ball or give the currency or give the capital or give the thing that we're using to be able to score, right? We have to protect those persons. Then who becomes the most protected person? Whoever has the ball. Whoever has the ball becomes the most protected. So you can't horse collar anymore. Remember, they broke T.O.'s leg when they did that. So they said no more of that. Right? You messing with the stars. Who has the balls more than anybody else? The persons who are, position or not position players, but you know what I'm saying. Well, I'm missing the term, but y'all know, not the line, but the seven. Or not seven. You get what I'm saying. Not the line, but the six. I'm thinking 7-on-7 drill. Right? But you protect it. And how you doing, Kiki? Thanks for being on. And thank you, everybody, for being on. Appreciate you. Early Shabbat Shalom to you. Happy Feast of Tabernacles. Those who do say there's Shoshana, Rosh Hashanah to you, all that stuff. But yeah, it's the most important position. Period. It is the most important position on the field. So you protect it. So guess what? Guess what, sisters? The most important position in the family is supposed to be the most protected. Now, because things have been out of order and chaotic for so long, right? We've had to have our mothers think that the children are the most protected. And I'm not saying we don't protect babies, but hear what I'm saying. I'm not one with my child, I'm one with my wife. And my child will never produce children for me. They'll produce grandchildren. My wife produces my children. She is the most protected in the house. Matter of fact, the times where it gets difficult for me or her husband is if I can't protect her. I'm just keeping it a buck. That's actually the worst for me. Shalom is it Samakaya? Not sure if that's how you pronounce it, right? But that's when it gets the toughest for me. Is when I can't protect her. You know, a lot of brothers, and I'm not trying to speak ill of you sisters. Hopefully you've heard that I've been lifting you up, right? But that being said, a lot of brothers, when they actually have issues and arguments, a lot of times, and they might be going about the wrong way to say it or do it. However, a lot of brothers, when they start talking about the issues they're having, it's usually because they're trying to tell you, hey, like, I'm trying to protect you and it's difficult. Right, now we're talking about kingdom husband. We're talking about kingdom sense, not common sense. I get there's a lot of brothers out here that ain't worried about kingdom sense. And a lot of sisters who unfortunately didn't get with somebody or don't care about getting with somebody who's got kingdom sense, right? But that's why you get common men. If you want so-called high-value men, then they can't have common sense. Because persons with common sense, their sensibilities are the sensibilities of commoners. So if you have a man whose sensibilities is, I got to make that money, make that money, make that money. I'm not saying you shouldn't make the money. You hear what I'm saying? If your sensibilities, if both of y'all come together and become one with the sensibility of make that money, make that paper. It's all about the paper. Y'all can't tell us nothing. We a power couple because we rich. But before you have money, you should be rich. And you can get rich off of just what's in here. Right? If you get this together, when you get this together, right? When you get this together, this all this that you like to do, this comes with it. But you got to get this together first. Multi-million-dollar ideas present multi-million-dollar companies. Watch this. Do you know, as much as poor as you guys say you are, the poorest of the poor, I won't say this all the time because I've been out there on the streets and I know what it is to not eat and to be a father that sometimes didn't eat when he was doing the same father thing. I get it. That being said, have you ever, I know nobody wants to think about that, but we don't think like this enough. Have you ever thought about the fact that the poorest of the poor, there are some exceptions included, right, in what I'm saying, right? But the poorest of the poor somehow, some way, eat 3 meals a day. And thank y'all for the love. How you doing, Sister Deborah? Right? The poorest of the poor somehow, some way, still will eat 3 meals a day. You ever thought about that? When we busted and disgusted, we still eat 3 meals a day. Salah. How you doing, Etherin? Praise God for you. Floridians in the house. Right? Right, but when we eat, we can be the poorest of the poor. Oh, I'm not a grandfather yet, although I am at the age of a grandfather, and I do have babies that can give me grandchildren, but hopefully they make sure that they do it righteous. So I don't mind that. I can't wait. I hope to have great grands. I'm trying to be 150 out of this place. So yeah, so that's a blessing to me that you would see that in me. I appreciate you. Or you just trying to say that I'm unshaven. I don't care about that. I'm not married to you. Right? But that being said, that being said, for those of us that are on here, and if you're a dude worried about my appearance and try to get, don't worry about it. I don't swing that way anyway. Right? No offense if you do, I just don't. Right? But if we're sitting up these and seeing this stuff, you got to be in a position to see where, like we are taking so much time to where we don't realize how powerful we are. You can have no money and still eat 3 times a day. Right? You can have no money and eat 3 times a day. I'm not even talking about whether you own government assistance or not. I seen it. I lived it. Whether you want government assistance or not, whether you want that government cheese or not, whether you want WIC or not, whether you want them them stamps, or what you got, the card, the EBT, all the stuff, whatever, whether you want it or not. Persons in other countries that don't have roofs over their head, literally, can find a way to make sure that everybody eats. At least eats enough to live. Now, obviously, that's extreme survival, and that's not what we're called to always have to be extreme, going through extreme measures to survive. However, my point overall is to get to this point, is that what is it that you need that's not supplied? A lot of times what happens is you work in your faith, right? Because faith without, as much as a person keeps saying, don't worry about your works, faith without works has no life. Faith without works has no life. So when faith without works has no life, here's what happens to a lot of you, right? This is what happens. We don't really have faith that Yahweh is able to do exceeding abundantly above all we could ever ask or think, according to the power he's already placed within us. Because Israel is where heaven meets earth, Genesis 28. So when heaven is inside of us, heaven meets earth, when it's truly there, when you're truly grafted in, when you're truly in the kingdom, when you're truly part of the family, what is it that can't be supplied? And what is it that shouldn't grow? Just as Israel grew like the sea, and we still grow like the stars in the sky, like the sands, etc. What is it that can't grow in you that Yah has planted? He's planted the full measure of faith. Everything you need as far as faith is there. Now it's time to work. He can work for you. Somebody says, yes, he can. He'll work everything. Yeah, but there's some things you have to work. Beloved. This is interdependence. If you're married to the Most High, marriage is not about being independent or being totally dependent. It's about being interdependent. And how you doing, Heather? Thank you all for the love. Appreciate you. How you doing, babe? My wife is on the Honorable Alma. As always, check her out on TikTok, YouTube, or website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Specifically on here, you find her at Bloom and Flourish 3, the number 3. And you can email her at bloomandflourish1, is in the number 1, at gmail.com. All right. And those of you who are still trying to get shirts, Feast of Tabernacles, just anything from Brother Jermaine and stuff, but shirts for Feast of Tabernacles and everything, whether you want a white one or an orange ones, they glow in the dark, not the whole shirt, but the letters glow in the dark. You can reach him for that. You can reach him at Germ Johnson Insurance. That's not with a G, but with a J. Germ, J-E-R-M, Johnson, J-O-H-N-S-O-N, Insurance, I-N-S-U-R-A-N-C-E, at gmail.com. Right? You see, just went through a beautiful experience with faith and works. You needed to get uncomfortable. Yeah, sometimes we have to. It said sin because we are born into it, given free will to come out. Yeah, so we missed the mark in that thought process. But a lot of us aren't thinking properly. And is it Yuli? Thanks for being on. Right? But a lot of us are not thinking properly. A lot of us are not looking at things righteously. We're not looking at things. Oh, and by the way, those of you were saying earlier, if you like the chain, the copper, Brother Dwayne, check him out. I'm about to mess it up again. Maya is an M-A-Y-A. I'm messing it up. Maya, M-A-Y-A. What's the middle name? I'm sorry. Consistent Becker, Brother Dwayne, can you put it in there? I'll be messing up. I always skip over the middle part of the company. Maya Copperworks. Is that correct? I'm off. Now I'm off. Anyway, somebody put it in there for us. I'll make sure we put it in there. Bavakasha, of course, Brother Jermaine. But yeah, so we have to be in a position we don't believe. So you have, watch this, you have faith that you need to eat. That's it? Okay, thank you. So you have faith that you need to eat. So guess what you do? Guess what you work for? Guess what the system knows that you have faith in, so they'll get you to work for. You don't even care what you have to work in sometimes, but you work for it. You work for food. Why do you work for food? You work for food because you have faith that if you have food, you'll survive. Maya Prince Copperworks. Thank you. Maya Prince Copperworks. See, I knew I was going to skip the middle one. Thank you. Maya, M-A-Y-A, Prince Copperworks. Copperworks, one word. Right? Amongst all the different things that we got going on at SOC at all times. We got so much talent over here. And so many businesses. It's great. And we should support one another, as the Bible says. But you see, so you have, since you have faith in the food, you have faith that if you get a job, you'll get money. That's why you toil and you're not in work. Work and toil are two different things. A job is to toil. That's what the name Yob, or what you call job, or a lot of you know as Job, that's what his name means, toil. So he toiled. Matter of fact, here we go with the importance of a name. He was holy, he was without sin, all this stuff, but he had an authority, he had a ship, he had a name. That name was what? Toil. So he had to toil. Right, but you have faith that if you go to the job and you work this many hours, that's why some persons come on and they'll see me on in front of you guys and we're having a great time and we're talking and conversing and smiling and laughing and joking and all this stuff and talking about the word. And somebody will always come on here like clockwork at least once a live session, doesn't matter when and where. Somebody will come on almost every single time and say, go get a job. It's like, I don't need one. I did that for a long time. Matter of fact, I served in the military from a teenager, not just 18. Earlier than that, had to get parents' permission, right, to join. I served. That's 24-hour job. Got out of that, and I started working, jobs just to get by. Then worked minimum wage. Then couldn't get that, and just did side hustles. And before side hustles were on the phone, I'm talking about side hustles like cleaning floors and cleaning churches and picking up trash around facilities and stuff like that. So I could just make by and at least make sure that my children can eat and I could look at them eat. Right? But this is my work. Yeah, this is my work. This is what I do. And in this, by the way, I probably do a lot more than the average person. Sure, I'm not in a warehouse anymore, but I promise you, just not giving anybody's business out, I don't think persons even think about the fact that, my day typically could be one to where I could hear from 3 to 4 persons about them being in the hospital, and one of them might be serious, and somebody loses a family member. Matter of fact, I had a day where I found out that 2 persons lost family members in the same day. One was the person's child. Praying for everybody, having the list, trying to give instructions to persons traveling. Oh, by the way, I'm also a man, a husband, a father. I have to serve Yah myself, and that's stereotypical of the office. And I'm not talking about I just do this on Sunday, or just do it when somebody tells me to clock in and clock out. I've gotten better at making sure I get sleep. So when I fall asleep, I kind of clock out. But I might have somebody call me up and be like, "Hey, somebody's trying to off me," and might have to try and figure out how to get somebody to them, including maybe somebody else who's part of our family, our SOC community. Because we're a nation, we come together, right? So when we have works, this work actually, it's easier for me because as far as Yah is concerned, I'm bred for this, I'm born for this, right? So I'm ready for it, and it doesn't take away from me like it does from others. And just like you guys do some stuff, and if I were trying to put myself in your shoes, I don't know how you do it. But somebody would come on here and say, but it's because you're into the world saying that you need to toil and go to a point to where you're broken down all the time, rather than be in a position to where you can actually do things for, you can do things for the community, right? So, we have to get there. But anyways, so mothers are important, community is important. Verse 29, we're in Leviticus chapter 22, verse 29. We got to start sewing it up a little bit. So verse 29, and when you will offer a sacrifice of thanksgiving, which really means of fasting, right? So you letting go of it and you're offering it up. But that being said, when you offer up a sacrifice of thanksgiving unto Yehovah, offer it at your own will. So it's a cheerful giver, right? Hello, Cassie. How you doing? Sorry for missing you. Right? So you be a cheerful giver. Be somebody who's on point. Be somebody who's constant and consistent in their giving. And do it of your own will. This is free will. Free will offering, meat offering, grain offering, sin offering, offering in general, tithes. Do it of your own free will. See, coming up in the holy days, you'll never, even though, and some persons have said we should do this, I've entertained it in times past, and I mean, times past, I'm talking about probably like the last time I truly entertained it. I've heard persons say it, but as far as actually thinking about doing it, probably haven't even thought about it for real, which might make some people mad because, you've suggested it to me since then. But I'm just being honest, I probably haven't legit, I've heard it, evaluated it, and probably just put it to the side because Holy Spirit said no. You know, maybe the last time 10 years or so ago, maybe no, okay, maybe even 7 years ago, if we be, I'm having a little doubt. So let's just say up to about 7 years ago, maybe, you know, especially when I was not really in church anymore, but I was still helping persons with churches and stuff, and some of them needed my help and assistance even on running things. So we were, you know, in churches a lot more still. You know, now we just come through to help out a little bit as far as giving, and maybe if we're invited somewhere to preach, if Holy Spirit directs us to go, we go. But back then I was still doing a lot, and I was under some persons that were still connected in church, and they would tell that, you know, they had situations set up where if you're going to be part of the assembly, you know, make sure that you're automatically taking money out of people's account. Make sure that you are you know, make sure that you are telling persons that they're going to be part of you, then they better tithe. If they don't tithe, whatever. The Bible says we should tithe. The law says tithe. That being said, you have free will. How you doing, Sister Sheila? Hopefully we'll see y'all tomorrow. Those in Houston, or not tomorrow, today. Those that are in Houston, hopefully we'll see you later today. Hopefully we'll see all of you virtually later for Feast of Tabernacles as well. And when you see it posted in different places in social media, you should see the number to text if you don't receive the an email or a text with the information for the stuff, for the you know, for our gathering, right? But a lot of persons don't catch it. You know that we have a lot of different things happening. A lot of different things that are going on, and even though we do require, yes, money to rent, you know, besides time, talent, effort, energy, phone calls, you guys do a lot behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and I appreciate it. You know, I look at the value of it, and I definitely consider it to be something that, if it wasn't for you all, we don't exist. I'm a Levite, like not only by trade, not only by family, not only by law, but also too, like I legit, my family doesn't operate. We don't live. We don't move. We don't give persons other stuff. You know, you guys, I don't want to say it like this because it sounds like I'm being corporate, but it is what it is. Like, you guys bankroll SOC, like, and if we help a family in need, that's because you guys help a family in need directly, or you say, hey, use it for whatever, or you even say specifically, use this for families in need, whatever it is, right? If you say, if I'm able to do something for my wife on her born day, it's usually because a lot of you come together and say, hey, Pastor Kofi, this is not for anything else. You know, you'll try to use it for something else. I specifically am telling you this is for your wife, right? You know, a lot of different things. I'm sorry, is buffering? Is it buffering? Can you guys see and hear me? Are we having an issue with signal? Yes, no, maybe so. Mic check 1, 2. Can everybody see and hear me okay? Hey, Sister Deja, how you doing? And to, see, it's been a long time. Forget the baby's name. Destin and Donna is the other child that was born the same time yours was, but Donna's in Mississippi. I'm sorry, baby girl, if you can hear me. I love you, I'm sorry. But welcome. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. Milani. Sorry, Milani. How you doing? Trigger warning. I'm sorry. I was trying to stay away from saying the other child's name. I had that name in my head, but yeah. So but yeah, and all these different things, right? We had. Oh no, I know Isaiah. That's what I say. I was trying to stay away from it. I didn't want to, you know, bring up whatever. I know it's been a little while, but you know. Because Isaiah, that's the name of my little brother, so I always remember Isaiah. You know, there's another Isaiah that's part of SOC too, down in Florida. Do we have another one too? I feel like we have another Isaiah I'm forgetting about. Or we did have another Isaiah. I don't know if he's still with us. But anyways, or if his parents are still with us. But yeah. So what was I going to say? I was talking boom. Mothers, we're on to this. Oh yeah, so of your own free will. Any offering, any sacrifice, any donation, any tithe, anything that's given, we don't force that upon anybody. Right? We don't force that upon anybody. We don't force like, hey, you have to give We know it's lawful, but you know, it's your relationship with Yahweh, right? Whatever you decide to give, when you decide to give, if you decide to give, right? That's your level of relationship, faith, works, all that. I'm not going to look over your shoulder. Never have, never will, right? You know, but it is a free will offering. It's like the Bible says, you know, be a cheerful giver, right? Give cheerfully, right? If you're going to give, we don't want you to be. Now, sometimes you might have a little thing like, ooh, okay, yeah, I'm going to trust you, but I don't know. And, you know, we want you to give happily. We want you to give a relationship, right? We want you to give because it's your nature. It's natural, right? It's the way you look at things through your nature, through your person. And so during these holy days, we want you to know, like, come fully ready, come ready to celebrate, come ready to worship, come ready to, for today, honor the sound of the shofar, the sound of the trumpet as it sounds. I think we have a shofar and a bugle. So, yeah, we do. So you'll hear both today. You'll hear the shofar. Hopefully, Solomon, he will practice it, so prayerfully he'll be able to get the sound out. He'll do the shofar, and I'll follow him with the bugle. And we'll bring everybody to attention, so to speak, and go from there and see what Yahweh has for us. You know, but we're excited, we're grateful, we're thankful for what the Most High has in store for us, right? Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. If you're about to do what I think you might be doing, thank you. And at some point, we got to see y'all again. It's been too long. It's been too long, sis. It's been too long. We came through. I know we missed each other last time. Maybe when we're on our way up or something, maybe we can try to get Carolina folk together real quick again on the way back up. But yeah, so we have to make it a point to really try to come together and be about Yahweh's business, about His word, about His law, about His commandments, and make sure that we do so of giving of ourselves, right? A lot of persons don't know even the word gift, and so a lot of persons don't know this. I'm going off of Greek denotation and connotation. In the Greek, the word charis is talking about the word that you call grace. Grace does not mean unmerited favor, right? Grace means actually who you are, right? In Hebrew, it goes even deeper, where grace is not just who one is, but it's who one is, and also the relationship that someone has inside of who somebody else is. So when Yahweh's grace is given, right, to Abraham or Abram, back in Genesis, he receives this, and Noah even, sorry, Noah. It talks about that, and with Noah, it says that his grace or his khan was given unto him, and that word literally means that who Yah is was inside of Noah, and who Noah is inside of him. Like Christ says in John 15, I am the vine, you are the branches, right? Yahweh is the husbandman, and we can do nothing without him, right? Abide in me, live inside of me, and I in you. We're talking about marriage, relationship, right? We're married to Christ. Not trying to be too whatever about that, you know, but just being honest, right? That's not trying to be too hypersexual, but that's what it is, right? So that's charis. That's in the Greek. That's grace. If one says what is a gift, though, you actually call a gift, believe it or not, charisma, right? So we think charisma is oh yeah, man, I like this person. No. Charisma technically is the gift of yourself, right? So charis is grace, but if the grace is given to you, right, then that is charisma. That's a gift. So when we give a gift, we should give ourselves. So if we're not giving of ourselves, that's why it's a sacrifice. Because if I give of myself, then it may hurt, but I'm happy to sacrifice even if it hurts because of my love for the person that I'm gifting to, right? Right? So although it hurts for Yahweh to lose his son, he doesn't mind the pain, especially knowing that his son will come back to him, but he doesn't mind the pain because he wants to give himself to you as a gift. And he knows that if he truly loves you and he's going to give a gift to someone he loves, then he would have to sacrifice or give a piece of himself. Right? This is what sacrifice is. Sacrifice is a gift. sacrifice itself is a gift. So if I'm going to be a living sacrifice, as we talked about with our children earlier, and even with the lamb and the lamb and the calf and the kid and all that stuff earlier, we have to set it apart. We have to make sure it's authorized. We have to make sure it's clean. We have to make sure it's lawful, and then we give of ourselves, all right? Or because that thing, when it's given a sacrifice, it's giving of itself. It's giving its soul and place for your soul. So if we give anything to Yahweh, it costs. When I give anything to Yahweh, it costs. It costs me something. If I give to you, if I'm truly giving you a gift, if I'm giving you a gift of time, of presence, of talent, of effort, of energy, of teaching, of finance, of classes, of family, because even in this, remember, this is not just virtual, it's reality. Right? We're a family. We love each other. We honor each other. Even when we go through things, we try to go through things together as much as is possible, right? So we give. But you give of free will. And thank you, by the way, for those who are giving, especially during this time of the holiday season, because we do give, right? And now it's up to me to make sure that all the stuff I've been talking about that the Levites are supposed to do, I gotta do my part too. And what we do with it as Israel, we have to do our part as well, right? Okay, moving on to the next verse. Verse 30. On the same day it shall not be eaten up. Ye shall leave none of it until the morrow. Right? Speaks for itself. Here I want to start focusing in as we get ready to take our lead. We're kind of coming down the home stretch. Verse 31. We're in Leviticus chapter 22, by the way. Right? Verse 31. Verse 31 says, therefore, because of all these things we've been talking about these last few days with Leviticus 22, because of everything we talk about with the holy days, because of everything we've been studying even today. Watch this. Therefore, and this is right before we go into the holy days, Leviticus 22 is going to start to say that Moses is told to speak to the children of Israel about the holy days. He talks to the Levites about how to receive the offerings that are going to happen. And then in Leviticus 22, he talks to the Levites about, hey, get ready to receive what's coming. This is how you receive it. This is who can partake in it. This is et cetera, all this stuff. This is how it works. But now we're getting ready to go into chapter 23. Right? I guess on Saturday, because Thursday and Friday is Q&A day. So when we come back on Saturday and talk about chapter 23, we're going to discover that now we're just talking about the holy days. So we have to get ourselves ready for whatever we do to Yah is offered up unto him. And then when we come together on the holy days, now that we know how to offer things up properly unto him and come together as family and community, and love each other properly and use this to make sure that the nation is being taken care of, now we can start talking about coming together for these holy days with a proper mindset. All right, so watch this now. Leviticus chapter 22, verse 31. Therefore, because of all that, shall ye keep my commandments and do them, and I, Yahweh, or I am the Lord. So wait a minute. So, and all the things I told you, going into the holy days, you are supposed to keep these as what? What are these called? Keep my what? Right? Shema Yechad Yahweh Asar, he says, keep my what? Help me out in the chat if you don't mind. He said, keep my what? He says, keep my what? I'm going to wait on this one. Right? All right. If somebody cares, if everybody's busy, that's cool. But if somebody can't, I'm going to wait on this one. Keep my what? Starts with a C. We've been saying it the whole time. He's been saying it the whole time. That these are not, if a king decrees something, it is law. That means that he is saying something. What is he saying? Thank you. Not trying to push y'all, just saying, I want to make sure we're on the same page. It says, keep my commandments. How you doing, Kellen? Excuse me, thanks for being part of the community. Keep my commandments. These are commanded. If you're going to give any offering, if you're going to give anything to us, if you're going to do anything, anything unto Yah, which is if it's a tithe, we put it in the storehouse. If it's an offering, we can use parts of it for this, that, or whatever, but it goes to Yah, right? And by the way, this also means that everything, can I just throw this in here too? In keeping a commandment? That means you can't be afraid when Yahweh gives you something. Don't be afraid to lose what he gave you. Sometimes he gave it to you because the commandment is to make sure that there's liquidity, right? When we talk equity and stuff like that, there's liquidity. If somebody doesn't get what I mean by liquidity, we're talking about a financial term, talking about you need to have a flow, a current, a currency, right? So when Yah gives us things, a commandment is to use it for things, too. So we get tithes, we keep it in the storehouse, but also, hey, there's a flow that goes to the Levitical priesthood. There's a flow that's for the widows. There's a flow that's for the poor. There's a flow that's for the orphan. There's a flow that's for the stranger. There's a flow that's for, even when we get together in events. It says at times, we probably don't need to use it this year, but it says if you're ever in a pinch for a holy day, and you need to make sure something's taken care of, right? Or a feast. You can sometimes go in and look at the situation, what's going on if you have extra. Right? But even in the commandment, how does it flow? See, because some persons don't know that's how cash works. Cash flow, currency, right? A bank is like a river bank. A lot of persons don't get this because we don't study sovereignty, we don't study law, we don't study, finance that often. That's why it's called a bank. You have current flow, and then you have the bank, right? But it wouldn't make sense, right? The bank is supposed to be where stuff grows on the riverbank, but it doesn't make sense if we go to the riverbank that we think that everything, like if you're standing on the side, right, looking into the river, you don't stand in the water, right? You want the water to flow, and the water flows for you. Even if you swim in it, you don't try to live in the water, right? But a lot of persons don't understand that sometimes we save. We think that saving, but you have to actually know how to let stuff flow. That's why you're supposed to invest. Now you need to learn how to, but that's why I want to invest. You invest because even if it's slow growth, right? Let's say you only got a 10% return. Let's say somebody this year invested $5,000 in whatever stock, whatever you're investing in, whatever crypto, whatever. You invested $5,000, you only got 10% return. So at the end of the year, you ended up with $5,500. Do you know that if you had your $5,000 sitting in a regular savings account, first of all, if it's in your checking account, you're not getting nothing, depending on your bank, right? But then if you your credit union, right? But if you got it in your savings account, you might get 0.04% return, and that's a great return. It is. That's supposed to be like, right? If you're not getting 0.04 on your savings, they messing you over. Meanwhile, though, somebody would look and be like, man, I'm not going to invest. Why would I put $5,000 in and only get $500 back? Do you not know that means that you made 10%? Right? That's letting it flow. Not trying to hold on to everything. Right? Sometimes that's greed. A lot of times, and sometimes it's fear, but that's also greed. I can't let it go. I just got this money. Let it flow. But you should also then make sure that you're in tune with Yah, and through the having conversation like, where should I put the money, and where do I want it to grow, and who's going to grow with me? See, because that's why it's community. If we really comprehended this, whatever your business is at SOC, if we really comprehend it, flow through SOC and make sure that they flow back. That's another thing too. See, this is lawful. A lot of persons don't give back like they're supposed to. Right? So they'll just go, oh, okay, and then they don't get back to the community. If we said, like, within our community, I'm not even going to name everybody's name because I'll miss somebody, but within our community, we have the ability to send stuff to each other, to give food to each other, to give natural medicine to each other, to give soap and lotion and stuff like that to each other, to make, we have clothing that's available. We have persons that are notaries. We have persons that can help you with your LLCs and trusts and all that stuff and setting your corporations up, etc. We have, and the list goes on and on and on. We have all that stuff at our fingertips. But what we'll do is go, you know what, it's just more convenient to just go ahead and give it to somebody who will never get back to my community anyways. Well then, yeah, we're not being obedient. So it's not growing the way it should. Now, we've seen some growth. Some of y'all have seen some growth. Some of y'all have seen some things. Some of y'all have been blessed when you've given your gifts, and we've given gift and talent back to you. Some of you sown in, and when you need it, SOC's there for you as best as we can. I think we've been very diligent and very great with that, and we plan to continue to get better and better. right? But how much better would it be if everybody could just sow into each other? And even though I didn't name everything that we need, I named a whole bunch of like needs, like a whole bunch of needs that could be met from in-house. Right? Now imagine once the land, or even different plots of land or different places all over the place that we're going to get land in the future. Imagine when that stuff gets together and you don't have to even worry about rent or mortgage. And you can stay there long enough, and when you do have a job or whatever you're doing, or you work or you're making your money, and yes, you give some back, but you say you're at that point you're saving or investing or doing whatever, and then you get to a point where you say, okay, now I'm going to use that to go ahead and get some land for my family. So now SOC and my family, we're all growing together. As SOC grows, my family grows. As family grows, SOC grows. That's how nation works. That's how it grows. That's how it works. It should get to a place to where if anybody in here, at some point, the goal should be if anybody in here ever is without something, or without, let's say without toil, without job, without work, whatever you want to call it, that somebody at SOC should be able to say, hey, I'll take care of you, I'll front you this, or I'll just give you everything up front. Hey, I'm gonna give you this much money up front, and you work for me now. Right? That's indentured servitude done properly. It's my responsibility to take care of where you live, take care of where you stay. I'll be able to do this, but now that you're doing that, I'm also going to teach you how to make sure certain things are there, or at least help to make sure that you get on your feet. And then, you know, by doing that, you're going to help me out as well. And then once we're even, basically, or not even even, but, you know, basically once you're straight and I'm straight, our contract is done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And we might even, you know, do that or whatever, become, you know, even family as far as marrying into each other, stuff like that. See, people think that's slavery. No, it's not even slavery. That's indentured servitude. That's how a proper, what you call job was supposed to work, at least in the kingdom. Ask and you shall receive. Yeah. Right? That's how it's supposed to work. That at some point, the goal is that if you're a Levite, called. Don't just become one just because you want, right? But if you're a Levite, especially the elders and stuff over time, but then even those who are licensed and stuff, the goal should be for you to start getting ready to come out in the world, because we need you to work in the field, right? The harvest is great, but the laborers are few. If you're going to be a laborer, we need you to labor as much as you can. And if you're going to labor, we need you to be taken care of, and your families to be taken care of. You never to think twice about it. Right? But we got to keep this. This is guarding you. Guard these commandments. You know, they got to say, and guard your heart. Everybody talking about. I heard somebody say this the other day, totally out of context. You know, the Bible says that, but, you know, you're talking about relationships and that. The Bible also says, guard your heart. And you talking about something crazy. But the Bible does say, guard your heart. Once again, the heart is love, passion. If it's compassion, it's one passion. It's communicative passion even. But if you communicate the same way, then it's one passion. It's one way. It's the passion of Yah. So how Yah wants it to be run should be our passion. This is a passion project. Not just for me, but for us. How you doing, Pastor Houston? This is not just about Kofi only. It's about a passion project. This is something that our children's children. I know it just says children. I always think about my great-grands. Because my great-grands are straight, then my grands should be all right. But it's something that our children's children should be straight. That's the goal. The goal is that our children's children should be straight. Hallelujah. Right? The goal is our children's children should be straight. It's bigger than us. But if our children's children become straight, that means, guess what? We're going to start to see some things too. Because if it manifests for them, it's got to manifest through us. See, greed, we don't think of it as greed, but it's going to manifest through us. Whatever I sow, I shall reap. So I'm trying to sow into, look, if I sow into Solomon, then I reap. If I sow into Solomon's children, I reap. Solomon's too young to have children. I'm not talking about time, I'm talking about eternity, baby boy. I'm talking about eternity, baby girl. When I sow into my child and his child, I sow into myself. That's why I try to become a better person, because I'm also offering up myself. And if I offer up myself to be a better sacrifice, if I sow that type of sacrifice, what I'm allowed to keep for myself and sow that into my son, who's allowed to eat because he's part of the family, he's allowed to eat of the righteousness that I offer up to Yah, then he'll be able to see it and he'll be able to grow, offer it up, and then give to his children. And next thing you know, I've taken generational curses, struck them, and now we're living in nothing but generational blessings manifested through righteousness. Hallelujah, somebody. That's a word. All right. Last verse 32. Let's sew it up. Verse 32. Neither shall ye profane. So he says, you should keep my commandments and do them. Then he stamps it with himself. Verse 32. Neither shall ye profane my holy name. You shall not make my name, my Shem, my authority. You shall not defile it. Not just only because you should not call me Jesus, because he's not Jesus. He's not half man, half Zeus. He's not saying not only shall you not defile it as far as you don't say my name enough, even though we can, or you don't say it righteously. He's saying if I authorize it, don't desecrate it. Don't try to tell people that if I say it's law, law doesn't matter. Don't try to tell persons that if I say don't eat it, it's okay to eat it. If I tell persons these are mandatory, don't tell them why it's not mandatory. Work hard to ensure. It might not happen today. We're in the land of our captivity. But start working towards ensuring that as much as is humanly possible, you can be at every holy day. As much as it's humanly possible, you can live around believers. As much as it's humanly possible, you'll have something to leave for your children. I'm trying to break the curse myself. I believe my father already has. Right? We're even just as far as making sure you can take care of yourself. I believe my father has his stuff taken care of already. When he's gone, he's got his will and everything in place. I'm not 100% there, and I'm not going to be 100% there until something's left for my grandchildren. So even when Solomon's straight, it still doesn't mean that he's straight. I got to make sure that he's straight, and his children are straight. And then I'll be able to say, you know, but we breaking that curse to where even a lot of persons where I've had to help plenty of times and stuff like that, where we're always, when somebody passes away, one of the things that we end up doing like clockwork is raising up money. We end up having to raise up money, right, to take care of our families. And then after that, stuff that could have been into the kingdom, stuff that could have went, first of all, could have went into our families, excuse me. Stuff that could have went into our families, stuff that could have been the next generation getting something to buy land, right? Something that could even, yes, go into the assembly, right? I'm not trying to, once again, you do what you do. If you think that I'm going too far, I'm just trying to tell you, see, you talking about building a nation, but you don't want to do what nations do. Do you not realize that Bill Gates, even though he's only leaving his children a fraction of 1% of what, a fraction of what he has, his children will never be without, and his grandchildren will never be without? Do you not understand that there are persons that when they pass away, we're going to see a second floor put on a school somewhere? Do you not realize that there's somebody that when they pass away, they're going to give away land that people are supposed to, and they're going to write in their will, only grow food on it for this community only? I'm not trying to say, oh, Pastor Kofi trying to get our money even after we pay. No, you do what you do. I told you, I don't watch over nobody's shoulders, haven't been, and y'all has blessed me when I haven't, so I'm not going to start doing it now, right? I'm obedient to that. That being said, I'm trying to tell you, you don't comprehend nation. And therefore, when nation rises against nation, and in particular when they rise against your nation, and they're doing things that are different than you, you start saying, man, that's the devil. Man, no. What's Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22 say? You like the end of it, that the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. But the first part of it says that you have to take care of your children's children. If you have a mindset that works in faith to take care of your children's children, then the wealth of the wicked is laid up for you. But the wicked have more of a mind to take care of the next generation than we do. This is why your children's names, so for some of us, some of you grew up, or some of your children's names are on bills, and they ain't even, some of y'all were in debt before you hit 6 years old. And that's why they'll kick you out the house. right? When the Bible says that we're supposed to make sure, if anything, you get your inheritance as a son, when we go ahead and say, okay, son, here you go. You have land, you have money, go do what you do. And our daughters are protected in the house until she is married to somebody, so that she can always be under somebody's protection. Doesn't mean that she's ruled over as far as the iron fist and all that. It just means that she's protected. No wonder our women don't feel protected. Not just because men ain't protected, but we don't have a system in place to make sure they shouldn't have to worry about certain things. Go ahead, get your job. Go ahead, go ahead, get your business and get your paper. You know, go get your paper, boo-boo. Right? Do what you do. Get that paper. Also, too, be protected. That's culture. That's not just, that's culture. Right? That's culture. All right. And but that's a commandment. He said, don't profane my name. Don't defile what I've authorized. Right? But instead of, I will be hallowed. I will be made holy among who? The children of Israel. So if the children of Israel aren't setting them apart, I'm here to tell you, I know somebody's not going to like this part either. If we as the children of Israel aren't setting them apart, if it's not a holy day, the children of Israel keep my commandments, keep the holy day, don't defile my name, don't defile what I've authorized, don't desecrate it. Right? And guess what? If we don't keep the commandments, nobody does. This is when I lose persons. Oh, here you go. That's that Hebrew Israelite stuff. That's why you got your guess a reverse right now. No. If you come into the children of Israel, you come into this. But we're where heaven meets earth. The kingdom of heaven on earth is where heaven meets earth. Is where the children of Israel are. If you are in fact of the Most High, you are the children of Israel. Now we're not going to do the thing where, see, so it doesn't matter at all as far as your bloodline. No, that's not true, because it matters for the Messiah. That being said, really put it like this. How dare you, if you are this person that carries the bloodline of DNA, how dare you be somebody that has it to where you don't, or where you don't follow the law? And then how dare you get mad at those who come into Israel while you've been cut off because you're so busy not keeping holy days. Leviticus 23:29 says if you don't keep them, then you're cut off. So you're cut off. You don't even do it. You're not even part of this branch. Right? You've been cut off. You a twig laying on the ground somewhere. Right? That why on the ground that we should pick up and start using to see if we can find water in the ground. You already cut yourself off. You don't care. But then you get mad at somebody who gets grafted in, and then want to come against the scripture that says you can be grafted in. Matter of fact, some of y'all have gotten so crazy with this that you started to call me a reverse racist to say that you need to be grafted in, as if me saying we want you to be part of Israel is a bad thing because you don't get culture. Right? Because you're not getting the culture of it. But we should be guarding these things. We should not profane anything he's authorized, and he should be set apart amongst the children of Israel. And then watch this, what he says right behind it, right? He says, but I will be hallowed among the children of Israel, right? Ana Yehovah. And who I am as Yehovah, watch this, that which hallows you. He said, I hallow you. I set you apart. Wait a minute. I didn't say this. I didn't write it. Is it in your Bible? Check it out for yourself. Read your Bible. It'll bless you. Am I lying? Am I making that up? I know somebody don't want to hear that. Am I lying? Am I making that up? Am I making it up? Is it in your Bible? Does it say not only that you should hallow him and put him aside if you are Israel, but then he says, I put you aside. I've set you apart. You're not supposed to be with everybody either. If you sound the same as everybody else, then what's the point? If you're so busy to say Israel don't matter, then what's the point? If you're so ready to give it the Balaam doctrine, then hey, be ready to give what Balaam got. Or Balaam almost got. Balaam got some pain in his leg and then had to have a miraculous thing where an animal had to talk to him, a stubborn animal, a she-ass, had to talk to him, a she-donkey. And then after he finished talking to the she-donkey, then he could finally see that there was an angel that had to tell him, I was ready to take your life, player. Right? Playboy, you was out here messing around on y'all's name. You a prophet. He says, I was ready to take you out. Because you keep defiling, you were ready to defile the name. So he said, I hallow you, I set you apart. And just in case you didn't get it, he said, I'm the same one that brought you out of the land. This is verse 33, last verse of chapter 22 today. He said, I'm the same one that brought you out of the land of Kemet. to be your Elohim. And then he stamps it again with Ana'ai Yechava. That I and I, right? Ana'ai Yechava. He stamps it again. I brought you out of bondage. You keep trying to go back. Your sacrifice, your offering, they help to keep you out. And I know somebody doesn't like this. I'm free. All right. Or the best things in life are free. Tell me what's free. Can you tell me what's free? And because some of you think that money, which isn't even real, is supposed to get you real things, but it's not even real. It's a medium. There's a go-between. But nevertheless, since you think it's real, a lot of you will say, oh yeah, you'll be thinking what you don't pay for. No. What in life is free? Is there anything that comes without effort? Is there anything that comes without thought? Is there anything that comes without spirit? Is there anything that comes without soul? Is there anything that comes without body? Is there anything that comes without consequence, positive or negative? In order for you to listen, did you have to at least give enough care to at least do this? Right? Free will doesn't mean there's no effort. Free will doesn't mean there's no sacrifice. We celebrate these holy days and we make the sacrifice to do so because it is what actually gives us because we do so of free will, and because the one who has given us an opportunity to be greater than who we are, he gave us something of extreme value, something that nobody could. It's a thing that costs more than anything else. It's the blood of Yechashva Mishafshi, who helps Maishapachim, or what you call the Mishkapat, the family. It helps us to grow. Amen? Amen. All right, that's all I have for y'all today. I got to make sure that I'm prepared. I'm pretty sure I've sent everybody who's going to be coming in person, at least if I know you're coming in person. If you haven't gotten anything, please look on our link tree, bare minimum. So make sure you can contact us if you'd like to meet up for us for the Feast of Tabernacles at about 2:30, 3 o'clock, somewhere near Houston time. So, right, Houston time. Right, whatever you consider. Some of y'all get confused with the New York time versus Central time. So those who are coming physically, Houston time, we're going to be meeting about 2:30 p.m. New York time. Sorry, Houston time. We're going to be meeting about 2:30 p.m. Houston time at the park. Okay, and about 4:30 p.m. Sorry, Houston. We're going to meet 2:30 p.m. Houston time at the park. About 5:30 p.m. New York time is when we'll start having everybody come in virtually on Zoom. If you're joining us on YouTube, we probably won't be on officially until about let's say 5:45ish. But the trumpet will sound probably close to about 6. If you come on Zoom, we'll have some music playing and stuff like that, so you'll be able to see. I'll try to see if I can have our screen open. But we'll be sharing the screen, so you'll be seeing the music and hearing the music. But I'll try to have the screen open that if you want to see us walking around and stuff like that, you can, or see us sitting down. Also, too, it is a feast. So if you're going to be taking time to join us virtually or physically, be ready to eat, right? Maybe have your dinner ready and all that stuff, and sit down and enjoy. I will try my best to see if we can do some games or have some things that we can do to have some fun virtually. Do probably like our, not Jeopardy, I keep saying Jeopardy, Family Feud kind of thing. So we'll do a little bit of that. Or we'll probably, or I don't know, we may do Family Feud, and we'll definitely do some stuff where we'll let people answer. We'll just put some questions out there, kind of the same way we've done before in times past. Not sure if I'll be able to put something together for the babies, but maybe we can put something together for the babies to play games if they want to come on. We'll try to see if we can set up some of that too. But that's all that I have for today. I thank you all. I appreciate you. Thank you for your prayers. I've definitely felt them. Was very tired yesterday, but we made it where we needed to, obviously. So we look forward to seeing you guys. Prayerfully, everybody should be able to find parking. I think you have to be prepared to pay for parking, if I'm not mistaken. Especially because it's a weekday. I'm actually going to have to try and get there a little early because I'm going to have to figure out where the RV can go. Hopefully I can find a place where I can pay to park it somewhere in the area, because it's kind of sort of in the area where the ballpark is, right? Where the is it the no Texans are football. Astros, where the Astros play, something like that. It's kind of in that area. But hopefully we'll be able to find something and get that done. But yeah, but thank you all. We appreciate you. Once we get there, I'll try to send pictures of where we are and try to we'll try to get a place with shade. Oh, you know what? I'll send this out to everybody too. I would suggest we should have places to sit. If you want to bring a towel or something to sit on the grass in, a blanket or something to sit in the grass. If you want to bring maybe a chair, a foldable chair, depending on if you can bring that if you want to. I'm going to try and buy a cooler and everything and get some ice, so we should be straight as far as all that too. But I do want to say, I do want to make it a point to say that, and we'll have fruit. We're basically just going to have fruit, maybe some vegetables. Maybe I'll bring some sandwich meat and some sandwich and stuff like that. Maybe we can have some of that stuff. If you like, I'm not going to really, I don't have too much financially. I'm not in a space like, this is like my offering, so I don't really have too much to really like give like a lot. But if you want to bring something to eat, or there are places that are around that you should be able to grab something to eat in, eat in those places. So if you'd like to be able to do that for yourselves, be prepared to do that, we would appreciate it. But we will have food for you. Just I don't have the money to go all out. Also too, I would suggest that it's supposed to be a cloudy day today. It does not look like it. I mean, there's clouds in the sky, but it's not blocking the sun. But it's supposed to be a cloudy day today. And they did say the temperature could be up near 88, and in Texas 88 be feeling different than some other 88s. So you might want to bring an umbrella, bare minimum. I'll see if I have an opportunity to do, maybe to pick up some kind of event tent, or maybe if somebody has a little tent that we can use to where people can rotate in and out. I'm gonna try to grab a space that's maybe under an awning or maybe under some trees. Since it's the weekday and we're gonna be getting there early in the afternoon, we would probably be able to grab a spot. But just letting you guys know, just kind of be aware of that. I know we have persons coming, different ages, different issues, ailments, stuff like that. So we want to make sure everybody's taken care of. If there's an emergency situation and somebody needs to get cooled down, I will have the RV if it's like a super emergency. But I'll be honest with you, I have to redo the Freon. Once again, we have a leak, so I have to do the Freon once again. So I'll be honest, you'll get out the sun, but I'm not sure how cool you'll get, But we'll have tons of water, ice, all that, Maybe you can bring a little rag or something. You can put some ice on your neck or something. I don't know. But just be prepared. We want everybody to be safe. Love y'all. I can't wait to see some of you. Some of you I'll be meeting for the first time. Some of you I haven't seen in years. So I'm excited. Some of you haven't seen since we were here last time. So prayerfully we'll see everybody. Prayerfully persons were able to take time off. We got enough persons that said that they're coming, that even if just you guys come, it should be a really nice meeting. It would just be a nice meeting, period. But, I'd love to see as many of you as possible. It always warms my heart. So I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. So if you're coming virtually, if you look up on all the platforms that we've been posting it on, it'll be posted on YouTube as well in the section that says posts. It'll be posted there soon. It'll be posted on IG. It's already on TikTok on all 3 channels. It's already on Facebook and in different Facebook groups that we're a part of, including Servants of Christ page and the Servants of Christ group. It's posted, it's posted in a few different places. It'll be posted more. And we're going to send a Google Calendar invite pretty much as soon as the shout out finishes. But also, if for some reason you don't get a text, email, DM, something saying this is the link that we'll be using later for Zoom, then we'll go ahead and just look for where it's posted and where the number is. I cannot post, just in case some of you are new to this, we used to post the links for Zoom on all the platforms. Unfortunately, persons, how persons will come in and they'll troll or bomb and they'll say like really disgusting things or whatever. We've had times before where persons have, not just on holy days, but even on men's meetings, stuff like that, stuff for children even, they've shown up and not only troll, like we had one year we were doing our watch party and some girl got on and literally was like shaking her butt, in some scandalous clothes. We've had persons come on and start cursing. We've had persons come on to the women's meeting and started saying really crazy things, where they were talking about they were going to try to like kill people and stuff. We've had people do that on some of our holy day stuff, talking about, you know, death to you guys and blah blah. I was able to find out real quick who it was for many of it, but still, we shouldn't have any of that stuff. So for Zoom, you know, we give the Zoom link, we only give it out to those who we know are SOC or that have asked specifically for it, you know, who we have a relationship with, even if it's just virtual relationship with. If you share it with somebody, that's okay. Just know that if somebody comes on doing some stuff, you know, we can't say we'll hold you accountable, so to speak, but just know, like, please be careful with who you give it out to, because there are some really strange persons who do some really wild and atrocious things anytime they get a chance to, in the name of whatever, in the name of fun or in the name of stupidity, in the name of the Satan, you know, whatever, right? Even though the Satan is name, but you get what I'm saying. So, anyways, love y'all. Take care. Tada, Barak at Shalom, peace and blessings to you. We're going to go ahead and do the shout out. I'm not really going to explain it this time, but we'll do a brief shout out. Those of you who know how the shout out works, feel free to kind of just do so. And if you can follow the example of those who start doing what's happening in the shout out, feel free. It's a way of us knowing who's watching, when you're watching, and also if you're okay with it, us maybe having somebody reach out, saying hello, and welcoming you into the family if you'd like to be part of it. So, love y'all to life. You all take care. And by the way, too, if you would like us while we're traveling somewhere doing something, want to invite us to something, ask us to come through for something like that, you can always get in touch with us through our link tree. Text the 202 numbers that you see on there, or email kofi-ofori.com. Or, sorry, that's the website. Email kofi-ofori082@gmail.com. All right. But love y'all. Thank you so much for being on. I really, really appreciate you. We're going to go ahead and do our shout out. We'll let the those who are veterans of the shout out do what they do. They know how it operates, so you can just follow their example. You got to come over to TikTok for the shout out, though. So if you're going to come over to TikTok, feel free to do so. We're going to go ahead and dismiss. Tada, everybody. Thank you once again to Minister Tismail Leray for an excellent Tisamayach, or Minister Tismail Leray. Excellent word, excellent message for early rising Bible study session. Thank you for it. Thank you for reminding us about getting into Yahweh's peace. And we're excited about the word that will come forth once again, praying for your continued healing as well. Thank you, everybody, on all the different platforms, whether you joined us today on the podcast, IG, Clapper, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. We very much so appreciate you, and we look forward to doing a lot more with you for years to come, hopefully. So thank you again. We honor you. We appreciate you. Hope that you have a great day. We give our honor and praise to the Most High. We give our praise and honor to him for my wife, the Honorable Alma, who lives a life that's able to be honored. As always, you can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A-N-D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. To the moderators, ministerial staff, SOC, LIDAR, and everybody, even those that don't like us, I still appreciate your presence. And we honor you on your journey. And I am Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant to Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time, of being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. And until I have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again, please remember, as always, that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, early Shabbat Shalom, and happy feast day to you. All right, see you soon. Take care. And that means also, too, today, nothing for the, by the way, I'm sorry, no Feast of Tabernacles meeting, no live session in the evening, all right? Our live session, everything will be centered around Feast of Trumpets today. Okay, talk to you guys soon. Hope you enjoy the music and the praise and worship. Take care. Peace.